We were 3-1 in the NFL last week. Those damn 49ers. Welcome to Gamechangerz, everybody. I'm Mike Lonsborough. Joining us this week, Burke Dales, former Stampede punter. We're going to take a look at some of the NFL matchups. The first game we have to talk about, Carolina and Detroit. Both teams had their asses kicked last week. My God. I didn't expect that from Carolina, losing in such a way to Pittsburgh. They bounced back, fortunately, against a team like Detroit. Detroit has given up 16 sacks in 2 games, buddy. And that's crazy. But I can't see Carolina losing again.
It's a tough game to talk about because Detroit's involved with it, right? So
You're not watching Detroit?
They've been disastrous all season. It's depressing to watch this team. And then they lose their offensive leader in Golden Tate, and everything's gone downhill since. Carolina started off strong, has a great team, but got their asses handed to them last week. And I think they're going to be back for blood. I think this is going to be a clear-cut winner. The Panthers run Detroit over in this one.
When you look at it, the Lions are ranked 27th against the run. And the Carolina Panthers have a great little running back in Christian McCaffrey that can do almost anything, comes out of the backfield, runs. He's exciting to watch. I don't think they've got the horses to stop them. And when you look at that, Detroit, they've lost so many 3 in a row now. It just seems like they're deflated. They don't want to play through it. And Stafford has no time and no weapons.
You got Funchess on the outside. You've got one of the most dynamic running backs and durable running backs in the NFL, and Christian McCaffrey. And then you've got Cam Newton, who's probably the best running quarterback in the game. This one's going to be a one-way battle. The Panthers win this one easily.
Okay, as far as our residential handicapper, Tom Luzzy, he's going with Carolina at -3.5. From there, we go to the toilet bowl, part 4. The Raiders are involved, of course. This is the worst team in football. They're taking on Phoenix, who could be the second worst team, maybe the Jets, if you throw that in there, maybe the Giants. Okay, so you got 4 teams looking for the number 1 spot overall. The Cards at home, a little more competitive than what the Raiders are. In their 5 of the last 6 games, they've lost them, but they're within 10 points. So, you've got Larry Fitzgerald, you got Rosen, and you got David Johnson. So that's going to be a tough stop because really, Oakland, what are they playing for? Vegas? Really?
It's disastrous. John Gruden came in, and gotta love what John Gruden's done in his career. But in my opinion, the wind left the sails when Khalil Mack left the organization.
Sure.
And that was, in my opinion, that was Gruden's ego that sparked that. And look what that's done for Chicago's defense and their success this year. That being said, they're rebuilding. But they're also one of the most, in terms of average age, one of the oldest teams right now in the game.
Yeah.
So what is Gruden really doing? He's got 3 years to make that money, to turn it around. So there's no pressure on Oakland. Yeah. That being said, Arizona's going to run in and run over the Raiders in this one. Christian Kirk, another X factor you never mentioned. He's had a great season at wideout. And they've got David Johnson finally rolling with the new offensive coordinator. So this one, to me, the Cardinals cover the spread with ease.
Okay, Tom Luzzy says, go with the Cardinals at -4.
Lock of the week.
Houston, Washington, the Texans, Burke, out of the gate in a bad way. 3 straight losses and things. Deshaun Watson coming off an injury. They said he's not going to be the same. But boy, have they caught fire in a hurry. They've won 6 straight games. And they're playing a team like Washington. I think this one's going to be won and lost in the trenches because Washington's got 3 starters out. And with Watt and Clowney on that D-line, there's no way that they can stop them.
Not only that, though, Houston right now is clearly on a roll. The loss of Will Fuller did not hurt them whatsoever because they've replaced Will with Demaryius Thomas, another stud in the league. So they just continue to get stronger and stronger. They're on a roll right now. But again, here's the X factor, is Washington's defense in this one. Yeah. The most underrated defense in the league. Alex Smith, maybe the most underrated quarterback in the league. This one's going to be a lot closer than what people think, but I think Houston still covers.
Let me ask you this there. I got some stats for you because, you're talking about Alex Smith, and in the last 3 games, he's thrown for exactly 178 yards in all 3 games. He is a game manager, and I agree. I like to see him do well. but he manages the game. He's not going to go out and be a Brett Favre kind of guy. Washington's defense. They gave up 491 yards against the Falcons, 500 yards against Tampa, even though they only gave up 3 points. Teams that gave up 500 yards the next week have a record of 28, 87, and 2. So pretty startling stats there if you want to be a stat geek. Our handicapper, Tom Luzzy, likes Houston in this one at -3. So look for the Texans to pull up a win in Washington. Perhaps the game of the week could be on Sunday night when the Minnesota Vikings travel to Chicago. First place is on the line. You have two of the best defenses in the business. Minnesota has 31 sacks. Chicago has 30. They have Khalil Mack. The Vikings defense has finally found their game. The Bears have won 3 in a row, but the teams they've beaten, the Lions, the Jets, and the Bills. So I think those stats, I think they build up the stats a little bit offensively. I don't think they're as good as the stats indicate. The Vikes have won 4 of 5. Dalvin Cook is back. Takes a little pressure off Kirk Cousins throwing.
Yeah, and this one's going to be, in my opinion, the game of the week. And promise to not punch me on set right now because I know you've been a Viking fan forever.
Just ever.
But that being said, Mike, I'll tell you, Minnesota's coming off the bye. They're rested. Yes. Yep. They've got the best receiver in the game in Adam Thielen. Yes. Chicago has got the best defensive player in the league in Khalil Mack. Yes. In my opinion on this game on Sunday, Chicago is going to roll your Vikings.
They could. The Vikings don't play well in Chicago. They've lost 14 of 17 at Soldier Field.
And Trubisky's playing on fire right now.
Yeah.
Right. He's got his confidence up. He's got a receiving core for once, and Allen Robinson on the outside. These guys, is it Trey Burton at tight end? He's got weapons. Their run game. Look at Cohen. I mean, if he got the ball more, what could he do? But then they've got Jordan Howard. He just runs it right up the pipe every time. It's A gap for 5, A gap for 3. They've got the offense rolling in Chicago. They've got the defense rolling in Chicago. And the Vikings are coming off, yes, rested, but they're also coming off a week of no football. I think if you're going to bet on an underdog, who's favored in this one, Chicago or Minnesota?
Well, he's going with Chicago's favorite, but he's going for the upset.
I would go Chicago all day and take the spread.
Yeah, Tom Luzzy isn't going. Let me ask you this as a player, former player. The bye week, good or bad?
In the NFL, it's good because it's a smaller field. You got bigger, faster guys, and no offense to the CFL, that's just factual. They need the rest. They're beaten up. Yeah. They need that rest. In the CFL, it's a little bit different. I think the bye week hurts teams in the CFL, just in my experience. Going back to the Calgary-Winnipeg game, oftentimes we've come off the bye and we've lost that game. Mm-hmm. We're just a step behind in that first quarter. And, once a team seizes momentum going into the second and the third quarter, and if the visitor's up, it's going to be hard to come back on that. So to answer your question, in the NFL, that rest is greatly needed. In the CFL, I think the bye hurts.
Right. Tom Luzzy likes Minnesota in an upset.
Time for the Gamechangers wrap-up.
Tom Luzzy likes Minnesota in an upset in this one. Burke does it. Always a pleasure.
Always. Thanks for having me, Mike.
You bet.